But I'll tell you why I think this matters or not for our viewers, investors out there. The only thing I think that matters right now as to policy are congressional Republicans. And while President Trump has very strong support from his own base, while the Democratic Party looks to be very low in the polls, there is no pressure right now on congressional Republicans to cross the aisle and give any help to the Democratic side. And as long as that remains the case, then I think his policies pretty much have a green light, at least from Congress.
Look, does this make sense, though, the way these numbers are set up like this? Because he's doing things differently, he's putting the more difficult policies first.
His numbers have held up this well with the nonstop coverage of all of the uncertainty, tariffs, et cetera, et cetera. Scott Bessent, in addition to the NBC poll, the Treasury Secretary was on with Kristen Welker,
sure,
and just said, look, this is years and years of flawed policy in terms of government spending and everything else, and we are going to go off a cliff if we don't do something. So we need to detox now. So with all that in mind, the other thing I took issue with, you said he's got strong support with his base. I think his base used to be 30%. He's got 90% of Republicans. So that's not just his base. Those are Republicans in general, and only 4% from Democrats, which I think is kind of funny. I don't think Republicans are going to help Democrats, as you said. I don't think Democrats are in the mood to help Republicans either.
I'm taking my view, Joe, politically from the interview that Chuck Schumer gave to the New York Times over the weekend, which I think was interesting.
Well, Schumer did help Republicans.
Yeah, right.
Or the country, however you want to.
What Schumer said was the Democratic program was to put pressure on President Trump and his policies, which he says happened in 2017 and 2018, which hived off some Republican support. The House is very close, Senate less close, but that's their program, is to be able to say, if the tariff policy ends up being very unpopular, if the inflation problem becomes an issue, if the views on the economy become an issue, and as we get closer to a congressional election, you could see some House members, perhaps some Senate members, crossing the aisle on some issues. But we're not anywhere near that right now.
Some people have said that that's why this is the better way to do things. Take the more complicated, less popular plans and put them now so that you can hopefully have more popular plans later. I don't know.
Well, that was the difference people said with the first term, right? You got the tax cuts, all the good stuff, and then you got the tariffs later, and the market kind of went flat on that tariff time. Now maybe you get this earlier. Look, before any of these numbers matter are the economic numbers.
Right.